I see a pond in the rain outside the window. On a rainy day like this, I think of my younger brother who was separated from my childhood. I heard that my mother took younger brother and left for a foreign country. I didn't even see the last of my brother leaving. The last time I saw my brother was the day I made him cry. That day, my father gave a metal necklace only for my younger brother, so I was jealous of my younger brother. Out of jealousy, I teased my younger brother and he cried. My brother made a childlike promise to give me a necklace when he grew up and no longer needed it. That's the end of my brother and me. The reason my brother and I broke up is because of our parents' divorce. After my father quit his job and came down to the country house, quarrels became frequent and the parents eventually divorced. I also understood my mother's position. My father, who came down to the countryside, became something strange. My father, like my grandfather, was obsessed with the pond. My grandfather was a man bound by old customs, and my father did not understand him. After my father came to Seoul as an adult, he cut ties with grandfather. Then he heard the news that grandfather had committed suicide. It is said that the grandfather drowned himself in a pond and died. The reason why the grandfather is obsessed with the pond goes back to the distant past. Now it is just a small pond in a remote valley, but in the past it was a sacred place where rain ceremonies were held. When the pond dried up and the bottom was exposed, it was considered an omen of drought. The priestly family, which has been passed down from generation to generation, presided over the rain ritual, and sometimes children were sacrificed. Our family has been the servants of the priests for generations. The priest's family sold the land and left for a foreign country after the Korean War, but the grandfather lived by guarding the pond all his life. When the pond was dry, it was somehow fetched and refilled. That was my grandfather's calling. After the death of the grandfather, the father continued the vocation of the family. I couldn't understand my father, and after I came up to Seoul as an adult, I cut ties with my father. I also looked for my mother and younger brother, but I couldn't find any news at all. Then I heard the news that my father had died. It is said that he collapsed from a heart attack in the living room and has not been able to get up since. It is said that the last appearance of the father was as if he was trying to crawl toward the pond outside the house. I had a funeral and inherited a country house. While tidying up the country house, I found some old stuff. There was also a genealogy of our family. The genealogy listed only my name and not my brother's name. What is unusual is that our ancestors were only children for generations. There were other things besides genealogy. Unknown shamanistic tools, all kinds of ornaments, necklaces made of jade, etc. Does my brother still have that metal necklace? Does he remember his promise to give me a necklace when he grow up? Anyway, I didn't like the look of the country house, so I put it up for sale on real estate agent. There were several people who wanted to buy it, and among them, I decided to proceed with a contract with the operator of the rental cottage. I went down to the country house after a long time to check the condition before the buyer came to see the land. That year was a record drought. It was hot even with the air conditioner on in the car. After opening the iron fence at the gate of the country house, I was sweating like rain. I wanted to go into the cool water. Will the pond be okay? I went into the yard. The pond seen from afar was dry as well. The bottom is completely exposed. It smelled of rotting fish. I saw something shiny at the bottom of the pond. I got out of the car and went to the pond. I saw something strange. At the bottom of the pond was a heap of white bones. There seemed to be dozens of them. All the white bones were wearing metal necklaces. Bones varied in size, but most were smaller than those of adult males. There were also bones that looked like they were 5 or 6 years old. My younger brother was about that age. No, it couldn't have been. The metal necklace in the pile of bones glistened in the sunlight. I cautiously approached and picked up the necklace. On the necklace, it was written in Chinese characters, "Sacrifice." It was the necklace that my brother had received from father. It reminded me of the story that a child was sacrificed for rain ceremony. They will be people sacrificed a long time ago. It won't be my brother. I hope my father can't do that. For this reason, I am guarding the pond. Fortunately, it rained a lot this year. I don't think I need to spend money to bring water. It is still raining. Is it raining where my younger brother is? Is he getting along well with mother? I looked at the pond outside the window while thinking about that. The pond in the rain was pitch black. The inside was not visible at all.